Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, former Chief of Defense Staff Irabor pulls out of military in colorful ceremony as Defense Headquarters gives senior military officers till Monday to resign. A mayor of Kano pays Salah homage to Governor Abba Kabir in Government House. 3 dead, 1 injured as car rams into truck in Ogun State. On the foreign scene, flooding in South Africa kills 7 as rescue operation for missing people continues. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ila. Thanks for joining. The news in details. The immediate past Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, says that providing security for a diverse country like Nigeria is not an easy task, but not impossible to achieve. He said this in his valedictory speech during the pulling out ceremony organized for him at the Mogadishu cantonment in Abuja on Friday. According to Irabor, the debts the country owes to men and women who serve in the armed forces cannot be paid fully. He expressed satisfaction with his service in the military, saying that he is leaving the armed forces today bigger and stronger than he met it.
The nation should be proud of its military, to whom too many security concerns seem to now be consigned. I therefore state with a sense of responsibility that as a nation, we should avoid the deliberate or inadvertent inclination to denigrate the contributions of the armed forces to national security, unity, and stability. To do so would be to effectively undermine the Nigerian state. As I transition into the next phase of my life, I carry with me a deep sense of pride and gratitude for the opportunity to have served our great nation. Our military stands as a beacon of hope, strength, and resilience in an increasingly complex world, and I'm honored to have played a part in that noble endeavor.
Meanwhile, the Defense Headquarters has directed all senior officers with seniority on commission above Nigerian Defense Academy Regular Course 39 to proceed on voluntary retirement. This development comes on the heels of the appointment of the new service chiefs by President Bola Tinubu. The notice of resignation was made known in a statement from the Defense Headquarters signed on Monday by Major General Y. Yahaya. According to military tradition, senior officers are unlikely to take orders from their juniors. Thus, the new appointments necessitate the compulsory retirement of about 100 top officers, including generals, brigadier generals, air vice marshals, and admirals in the Nigerian Army, Navy, and Air Force from the force. The new Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Christopher Musa, is a member of the 38 regular course, while the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Taurid Lagbaja, the Chief of Naval Staff and Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, the Chief of Air Staff and Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar are members of the 39 regular course. Away from that, Vice President Kashim Shettima has called on leaders in the northwestern region of the country to unite and support the present administration's efforts in addressing challenges confronting the people. The Vice President made the call on Friday in his remarks when he paid Salah homage to the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, in his palace. Senator Shettima said that President Bola Tinubu is aware of the insecurity that has pervaded the northwestern region, and he is taking far-reaching measures to address the situation. Shettima, while conveying President Tinubu's felicitation, said that there can never be peace without development, and there can never be development without peace.
I will urge you, I will implore you, I will beg you, in the name of Allah, to, at whatever cost, sustain your relationship with the Sarkin Yamma for the peace, stability, and progress of our sub-region. Please accept the glad tidings and regards from His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is very much aware of the challenges of our people. The insecurity that has pervaded the northwest region of the country is taking far-reaching measures, and I want to congratulate you. In the past 30 days, there has been some semblance of peace. Out of the 4 terrorist leaders, I think the security forces have adequately handled 3 of them. I want to commend them. We want to thank them for all the sacrifices.
The Police Service Commission has approved the appointment and deployment of 8 commissioners of police to state commands in the country. In a statement by its spokesman, Ikechukwu Ani, the commission also commended the Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, for adhering to its latest policy on gender sensitivity in his recommendation. The commission, however, expects that the Inspector General, in his subsequent proposals, will include more officers from the northeast and southeast geopolitical zones that have yet to record the benchmark of 15% as decided at its last plenary meeting. Arase advised that the acting IGP consider the disadvantaged geopolitical zones while forwarding subsequent proposals for the Commission's ratification. Kano State Governor Abba Kabir says he has no regrets over the ongoing demolition exercise his government is undertaking to reclaim government properties. While receiving the Emir of Kano at the State Government House to mark this year's Hawan Nasarawa Durbar, the governor further assured that the Emir that his administration will continue to work in the interest of Kano people. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that the governor highlights his major achievements within the last 31 days.
In Hawan Nasarawa Durbar, the Emir traditionally marched out his troops to the State Government House in order to pay Salah homage to the governor. According to Governor Abba Kabir, this year's Hawan Nasarawa is unique for the state government, the Emirates, and the entire people of Kano State because it's the first time to be observed by him as governor of the state.
It is the first day when the Emir visited his brother to pay homage as the governor of Kano State. Your Highness, let me seize this opportunity to once more inform you that since we assumed office, we have been working very hard, day and night, to ensure that we fulfill most of the promises we made to the good people of Kano State.
Informing the Emir about his achievement within the last 31 days, Governor Abba Kabir says the demolition of each central ground in Kofarmata is his greatest achievement of all, followed by the payment of 1.6 billion naira NECO fees, revival of feeding across boarding schools in Kano, among others.
We have never demolished individuals' houses or individuals' properties. What we are doing is to look at public places that are meant for the enjoyment of the good people of the state. Hospitals, graveyards, schools, and so on and so forth. So I just want to say that we in government have no regret for our action whatsoever, because we know we are doing it for the betterment of the good people of the state. My greatest happiness as far as the demolition is concerned is the retrieval of the idle ground situated at Kofarmata that has been there for years, that is meant for the Muslim Ummah.
While commending the state governor's excellent leadership qualities, the Emir assured that the Emirate will continue to cooperate and support all government policies and programs geared towards the development of Kano people, as he called on government to intensify efforts towards easing the suffering of the poor masses.
za ku same mu masu ba da shawarwari na gari.
Your Excellency, I wish to inform you that the Kano Emirate will support and cooperate with all your policies and programs for the development of our dear state. I therefore call on you to continue to do your best in easing the suffering of the masses, especially given that the increase in fuel price has posed some hardship to the people. Hundreds of Kano residents turned out to receive the Emir, his royal trends, and other traditional title holders who rode their horses to the state government house. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, still in Kano, Hawan Daushe is a Durbar festival that dates back to centuries, during which the Emir marched out his troops to the streets of Kano to pay Salah homage to the people. Over the years, this tradition has been passed down from one generation to the other, and it has remained the most colorful Durbar in the Hausa Fulani kingdoms of northern Nigeria. Correspondent Idris Jibrin reports this year thousands of Kano residents turned out to witness this royal presentation led by Emir Aminu Ado Bayero and attended for the first time by Governor Abba Kabir.
Muslims again are celebrating another Salah, and the people of Kano know exactly how to celebrate. It's called Hawan Daushe, a centuries-old traditional Durbar entertainment, royal in its presentation, relentless in its motion, splendid in its color, and breathtaking horsemanship. This year's Hawan Daushe in Kano is unique for some reasons. First, the Salah festival has been peaceful owing to improved security situation. Then Kano has a new governor who is attending the Durbar for the first time since his election victory. Therefore, the people of Kano, foreign diplomat and tourists alike, stormed the palace while the Emir rode out his troop to the street of Kano.
Any person that enters Kano or that lives in Kano or a Kano man that has never witnessed Hawan Daushe before, he has not really come to Kano. It's something that worth watching.
So we are happy to be part of this Hawan Daushe. We are praying to God to be witnessing this type of celebration in the next years to come.
Hawan Daushe holds a day after Salah. It's always time-bound, beginning at sunset, ending at 4 p.m. In Hawan Daushe, traditionally the Emir marched out his troops from Kofar Kwaru to the main entrance of the palace at Kofar Kudu, where he received special homage from his royal trends and from the people of Kano.
I am so excited over the whole thing, so colorful. I saw the costumes of the different groups, and I'm just wondering, there was no group that repeated the costume of the other, and I don't know how they did it, but it was so colorful.
The traditional Hawan Daushe is only a segment of the Darbars in Kano. As the celebration continues, so the Darbar. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And in the north-central part of the country, the Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak has hosted the Emir of Ilorin, Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, to the annual Bareke, commending the royal institution for working with the government to sustain peace and harmony and promote development in the state. The governor called on citizens to support President Bola Tinubu, whose early policies he likened to a pregnancy course, which is sure to birth a more progressive Nigeria. Governor Abdurazak said he was excited that the colorful Bareke brought together thousands of Kwarans and attracted positive reviews nationwide. It followed the last 2 days of colorful celebrations of the Eid and the Durbar. Accompanied by many royal title holders and community leaders, the mayor commended the governor for standing for peace and harmony and his investments in human capital and infrastructural development of the state. Kwara, he added, was not one tribe, but a heterogeneous community with many ethnic groups.
I welcome Your Highness to this another edition of the Barricade. It's It is significant that the good relationship between the throne of Sheikh Alimi and the government has waxed stronger. This excellent relationship has helped to strengthen peace and harmony in Kwara State as everyone aligns behind a single agenda for growth of the common good. It serves to reassure the people of Kwara State that growth and development occurs more and faster in an atmosphere of love, peace, and harmony.
To relay history on the soil of Kwara State. Kwara State, we are not one, but we are not one tribe, but we are the most manageable one in the whole of the country.
Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has warned herdsmen against harassing residents of communities, killing farmers and damaging crops in the state. Governor Fubara passed the warning to the leadership of the Muslim community who he received at the Government House in Port Harcourt in the spirit of the Muslim festival of Eid al-Kabir. The report.
Even though this visit is being paid in the spirit of Eid al-Kabir, it is also an opportunity to set boundaries for peaceful coexistence. The governor is concerned that while his administration is protecting the businesses of the Muslim community, some errant members of the fold are destroying the businesses and livelihoods of others. He is warning that if this anomaly persists, government will be compelled to wield the full force of the law against perpetrators and bring them to justice.
Please, see how you can resolve this problem. The local governments are complaining. We don't want to take laws into our hands because we feel that if we have to use all the necessary force, it might escalate and lead to unrestiveness in most of those areas where you do your business. So I want to charge you people, and I think it will not be out of place if I expect a result in the next 1 week or 2 weeks from you.
Leader of the delegation and Vice President General of Rivers State Council of Islamic Affairs, Nasser Uha, is quick to give assurances that the Muslim community will not be involved in using religion to destabilize the state. He is also pledging support of the community for the policy and program of Governor Siminalayi Fubara.
It has not happened in the history of this state that for you to have made it possible for them to celebrate this with tons of rice is something they appreciate. And it did not come after our visit. It came before our visit, telling us that there is hope. Our confidence in you is rekindled, and our confidence in your administration is wide.
We're a government that understand and feel the pulse of our people. We know that you're about celebrating your Salah, and it is important for people to eat. It is important for people to make merry, and that is why we had to surprise you people to tell you that it is not only our own people, the Christians, that you also considered in what we're doing.
The governor has given the guarantee that he will keep channels of communication open with the Muslim community because they are critical stakeholders in governance who should enjoy the benefits of the prevailing peace to their business and worship without molestation.
In the meantime, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has ordered an investigation into the immediate and remote cause of the collapsed building at Rumoke Street in Port Harcourt. The building was said to have collapsed in the early hours of Thursday, but no casualties were recorded. However, 4 injured persons who were trapped in the debris were rescued. Here's the report.
Residents of the area who witnessed the incident blamed the building collapse on substandard materials used during construction. This seems also to be the thinking of officials of the Rivers State government who inspected the collapsed 2-story building. Commissioner for Special Projects, Chukwuemeka Woke, who represented Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, directed the relevant government agencies to immediately question those involved in the project and bring anyone culpable to book. He said the government had urgently mobilized earth-moving equipment to the site to evacuate the debris of the collapsed building as the site has been cordoned off.
We have been told that 4 persons sustained injury and they have been rescued and have been taken to a hospital for treatment. You can also see as a government, His Excellency had directed that the site be sealed off, and you can see the signs that have been sealed off. And then rescue in such sense is evacuating the rubble. We are not talking about any human being because from the audit we carried out, nobody is involved. Having done this, any moment from now, equipment will come here to clear these rubbles. And then what is important is the fact that government is not going to take this lightly.
The engineer investigating the building collapse on integrity test promised that he will turn in his report in 2 weeks.
But right away, we won't be able to tell you actually the cause of the collapse. No, this is a 2-story building, but it has submerged. So it could be foundation failure, it could be failure of the structure itself, but we can't ascertain now, not until we conduct that test. It's called integrity test, structural integrity test.
So far, what I am seeing, I'm not impressed because I believe the engineer who did the job should be able to account for why it should be like this. What I am seeing, if the reinforcement is proper, it should not be like this.
The commissioner also visited the hospital where the 4 men injured by the collapsed building were taken. The doctors treating the patients gave assurances that they would be discharged in a few days as they were already in stable condition.
Three people have been confirmed dead, while one other person was injured in an accident on Friday along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The accident involved a Toyota Sienna vehicle and a DAF truck. Spokesperson of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Ogun State, Florence Okpe, while confirming the accident, a journalist in Abeokuta said that the accident occurred around the Total Petrol station located on the highway. Okpe disclosed that 7 persons comprising 4 male adults, 2 female adults and 1 child were involved in the accident, which she blamed on overspeeding on the part of the Sienna driver. She explained that the Sienna driver rammed into the DAF truck coming out of the trailer park. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at traditional meat sharing and preserving methods. Details and more after the break.
Keep a date with Housing Development Program, 6 p.m. every Sunday on Trust TV. Housing Development is the first and pioneer housing program in Nigeria and by extension, Africa. It remains the authentic voice of the Nigerian housing and construction industry. Housing Development is the only credible and specialized platform for seasoned professionals in the built industry, where quality and credible players in the real estate sector meet to interact, showcase and analyze government policies. It is no doubt that hundreds of thousands of prospective Nigerians who desire to own their personal property have done so through the assistance of Housing Development Program in the last 10 years. If you are a stakeholder in the built industry, here is where you must be. We are authentic, credible, and supported by all the leading professionals in the built industry. Housing Development on Trust TV.
Welcome back. This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Now here's a look at the top stories. Former Chief of Defense Staff Lucky Irabor pulls out of military in colorful ceremony as Defense Headquarters gives senior military officers till Monday to resign. Mayor of Kano pays Salah homage to Governor Abba Kabir in Government House. Abia State Governor Alex Oti has suspended the head of service, Onye Wama, and all permanent secretaries in the state. The clerk of the House, Pedro Irua Kanzi, and the State Chief Justice, Uche Ikonne, were, however, exempted from the suspension. A statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Kazi Uko, explained that the suspension came on the heels of Governor Oti's inauguration of the Judicial Panel of Inquiry on the recovery of properties and funds belonging to the state government in the interim. The governor has approved the appointment of Joy Maduka and the Director, Ministry of Education, as acting head of service. The Academic Staff Union of Universities has rejected the core curriculum minimum academic standards prepared by the National Universities Commission. The union said it was a threat to quality education and an erosion of powers of the University Senate in Nigerian universities. A statement signed by the National President of ASU, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, on Friday explained that it was inexplicable that NUC prepackaged 70% core curriculum minimum academic standards were being imposed on the Nigerian university system. It adds that University Senate, who are statutorily responsible for academic program development, were left to work on only 30%. Also criticized the NUC, saying that there were growing concerns about the numerous shortcomings and gross inadequacies of the core curriculum minimum academic standards documents. Now to security matters, troops of 4 Special Forces Command in Doma, Nasarawa State, have arrested 12 suspected rail track vandals at an abandoned railway station at Angwenyara and Ayaragu communities. Handing over the suspects on behalf of the commander, the Acting Deputy Director, Army Public Relations, 4 Special Forces Command Doma, Major Joseph Adekunle, says that all the suspects apprehended by the troops of the Nasarawa State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. Correspondent Umar Mohammed completes the report as put together in our studio.
Had been vandalized in large quantities by the vandals and had been loaded in 2 12-tire trucks before their lock ran out. In the course of further investigation, prominent citizens within Lafia and Jos Plateau State were mentioned as members of the syndicate.
Troop of 4 Special Forces Command, during a routine patrol, intercepted 5 suspected rail track vendors at an abandoned railway station between Angwenyara and Angaragu community within Kena local government area of Nasarawa State. The suspects were arrested in connection with the vandalization of rail track in large quantities, which were loaded in 2 12-tire trucks. Subsequently, during the course of further interrogation, prominent citizens within Lafia and Jos Plateau State were mentioned as members of the syndicate.
Deputy Commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Efere Joseph, who received all the suspects, appreciated the Army for the collaboration to tackle the state of insecurity in Nasarawa State. He gave assurances that all the suspects would be charged to court for prosecution after investigation to serve as a deterrent to others.
The handover note from the major in charge of the handing over process. These gentlemen behind me, definitely we are going to take them to our command, interrogate them, and then make sure that we forward it to the Federal High Court for further prosecution. But definitely they are going to pay dearly for what they have committed, because they are the ones that are like pulling back the government in terms of national infrastructures.
They say I should carry this motor to go lot around Ajaragu site, then I'll come back. And the time where they are giving me the motor, I tell them, say, I'll still go back to school around 2 o'clock, go and park student. So they just tell me, say I should carry it, go lot and come back before that 2 o'clock.
I just recently came back from school last 2 weeks, Wednesday. So I decided to go on with them so that I will look for what to sponsor myself.
Where are you schooling?
In Federal Poly, Nasarawa.
What level?
I'm in final year. What studies? What course of study?
A lot of vandalized tracks are still stockpiled at the spot where the vandals were arrested, waiting to be evacuated.
The economic situation in the country is biting harder on petty traders in Benue who are experiencing low patronage. In Makurdi, many traders said that their business have suffered setbacks due to the economic crisis. Jimmy Azandi reports.
The usual human traffic in the popular Wadata market, known for most petty trading, is now in the shadow of its former self. No thanks to the economic situation as recounted by the market women.
We don't suffer too much. They all government to all day. We are so they suffer money not to see food to chop on a problem. This on where we are. If we know that this new government to enter now, we need help from them. May they help us. Ababa no say no. They don't see. I don't say. Ababa no see to go pay back. Oh, government help us. Yeah. 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 When I see market buy.
The residents said the cost of items in the market is a major problem. They also said many hardly afford even the commonest food items in the market these days.
The manner of which everything is getting high is too much. Imagine rice. As of before, more than 400, 500. It's now 1,000 naira. You see, even meat, beef too, is too high. Even oil, all this. Imagine pure Gari is now rubber pants, 1.5. Imagine.
Others blame the worsening situation on the current subsidy remover in the country.
And when you talk to the customer will now tell you that the fuel problem now make everything was too high of this time. So that is the problem we have. The fuel program, not money. Money follow at the back. The first story was fuel because before we are buying a liter of fuel 200 naira. From at times 220, but now the fuel is 550 or 600 naira. Before you even come to the market, you first of all calculate how you stand and how do you start, and how do you come and buy the goods in the market.
The residents beg the government to come up with palliative to alleviate the suffering of Nigerians. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
In view of the current economic realities, some Nigerians believe that the 2023 Eid al-Kabir celebration was negatively impacted. This, they say, may not be unconnected to the hike in prices of sacrificial rams and other commodities in the market. Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail examines the impact of the economy on the celebration in Gombe State.
Eid al-Adha commemorates the Quranic tale of Prophet Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son Ismail as an act of obedience to Allah. Muslims who have the means are encouraged to sacrifice a ram as an act of worship to Allah. In this year's Eid al-Adha, Nigerians have been struggling to raise money to buy ram to sacrifice during the Salah due to soaring prices, while some Muslims who used to slaughter more than one ram have cut their numbers. Others could not afford to slaughter even a single ram.
Sakamakon cewa abubuwa duka suna cunkushe ba kudi a hannun jama'a.
The previous Salah was better than this one because of the harsh economy. I couldn't afford to slaughter a ram, but I did last year. We thank Allah.
To shine kawai sai dai mu yi Allah godiya kuma mu roki Allah ya ƙara maimaita mana. To talaka bai da abun da zai shi ta abun laye zai yi.
One who doesn't have what to eat would rather buy food or fertilizer for his farm. That's why a lot of people couldn't afford to slaughter ram this year.
Me yafi shine kaga yawancin mutane gaskiya bana ba su samu su kai layya ba.
However, despite the harsh economic conditions, many Muslims have been able to perform the sacrifice. I witnessed some improvement this year. I slaughter a cow. People are different. While some struggle to survive, others have the means. I was opportune to slaughter bigger animals this year, despite people's complaints. While delivering his Eid message, Gombe State Governor urged Nigerians to support the government for economic prosperity.
And I wish and pray that each and every one of us will continuously pray for our leaders. The president has shown capacity, has shown the will and the zeal to deliver on the challenges that are facing this country. So also the governors. Everybody must be on board for us to deliver. So I pray that we shall continuously work hard and pray that God will give us the resources, the energy, and the zeal and the passion and the determination to deliver on the challenges so that all the entire people of Nigeria, 200 million plus, and the wider West Africa and the whole at large will have peace, will have harmony, will have tranquility, so that we enjoy the lives that God has given us.
The Gombe State government has extended the Eid holiday to Friday to allow civil servants enjoy 3 days of Salah break. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Now, Salah celebration has come and gone, but the memory of Tareni in Sokoto still lingers. In this report, Abubakar traces the origin of the age-long tradition of sharing and preserving Salah meat in Sokoto.
It's Salah Day. One of the rituals of the day is the slaughtering of rams to commemorate the sacrifice made by Prophet Abraham. Here are residents of Sokoto State Metropolis processing their sacrificial lambs for consumption and distribution to the needy, neighbors, and distant relatives. This age-long tradition of roasting is known in local parlance as Tarini, meaning barbecue. In each community, there is a designated spot for such tradition, and every resident is expected to bring his slaughtered lamb for Tarini. This process is considered cumbersome, especially by resident communities, because it involves slaughtering the lambs or cows or any animal permitted by Islam, butchering them, fixing them to steaks, and setting up bonfire to roast them. They can remain there overnight, and when they are fully roasted, each family will remove their own and take them home. They would cut them into pieces for easy frying and eventual distribution. This tradition has remained even in the face of modernization. Some of the residents say Tarini has been on for centuries.
This tradition is peculiar only to the people of Sokoto State. It has been on for centuries. During every Eid al-Kabir, we slaughtered our sacrificial animals as enshrined in the Holy Quran, and this is how we process the meat. Each family brings their slaughtered rams here. We set a bonfire and roast them, and every family has their name written on their rams for easy identification. I don't know how the tradition started. I am now over 70 years, but I only grew up to see my parents doing it. It's a good tradition with a lot of advantages.
The tradition is also seen as a unifying factor for members of the community.
Tareni brings members of the family together. It strengthens the bonds of our relationship. It makes us see ourselves as one big family.
It is also another way of preserving the meat because, according to Madan Garba Gada, any meat that undergo this process can last for over 1 year.
As I'm talking to you, there are some people who still have last year's Salah's meat.
They are also confident that the tradition will not go into extinction. Abubakar Awal Imam reporting for Trust TV.
We'll now take a short break, and when we return, the news hour continues. Jen. Welcome back. You're still watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Now, the management of the Lekki Deep Sea Port has announced that Rimbaud has become the first transshipment vessel to berth at the port. Making this known in a series of tweets on Friday, the port management said that the ship is operated by CMA CGM. It stated that the vessel sailed all the way from the Far East. According to the tweet, the Nigerian Port Authority provided marine services, adding that it was berthed at approximately 1 p.m. on Thursday afternoon. The Nigerian Customs Agency boarded the vessel and all paperwork was certified to be in order. Let's now take a look at business update with Chiamaka Mwafo.
In a move to alleviate congestion and free up space at Nigeria's ports, the Nigerian Port Authorities intend to auction containers that have exceeded their required time at the ports. A statement by Josephine Moltak, General Manager, Corporate and Strategic Communications of the NPA in Lagos, says the decision was made following a comprehensive sensitization campaign involving shipping lines, freight forwarders and clearing agents. It also follows an interagency assessment tour by federal government agencies of overtime cargoes littering the ports, led by Magdalene Ajani, Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Transportation. With this, the federal government is now concluding plans to auction about 3,200 units of overtime cars and 4,251 units of overtime containers that have been occupying ample spaces for stocking imported cargo at the nation's seaport. The Central Bank of Nigeria says the country's external reserves fell by $2.85 billion in the first half of 2023 due to external debt finance, among other challenges. Figures obtained from the CBN revealed that the reserves, which stood at $37.07 billion in January, fell to $34.22 billion as of the end of June 26, 2023. According to the CBN, the reserves fell by $3.43 billion in 2022 from $40.52 billion as of the end of December 31st, 2021 to $37.09 billion as of December 29, 2022. And finally, in stocks, equity trading on the Nigerian Exchange Limited concluded the first half of the year on a positive note, with the NGX All-Share Index gaining 18.9% and closing at 60,968.27 index points. Nigeria's listed equities value increased by 5.3 trillion naira thanks to oil and gas, banking, consumer goods and insurance stocks. At the close of trading on Friday, the Nigerian Exchange Limited All-Share Index and market capitalization stood at 60,968.27 points and 33.197 trillion naira, compared to 51,251.06 points and 27.91 trillion naira at the beginning of the year. This marks a significant milestone for the index, reaching its highest level in 15 years since March 5, 2008, when it stood at 66,381.20 points. The month of June saw the All-Share Index rise by 9.32%, breaking a 4-year streak of losses for stocks during this month. It also represents the best monthly performance for the stock market in approximately 2.5 years. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Mwafo.
Now to the foreign scene, where 7 people have died and another 7 are missing after days of heavy rainfall triggered floods in and around the South African city of Durban. Local government authorities said on Friday that 6 people died in Durban and 1 in Port Shepstone, a beachside town about 120 kilometers, 75 miles to the south. According to the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government, rescue teams are still searching for 7 more people. Authorities say that they recovered the bodies of a woman in her 20s and a teenager girl in a canal in Durban to take the death toll to 7. Around 70 houses have been destroyed and more than 100 damaged in the world weather, while more than 150 people have been left homeless. French President Emmanuel Macron was to chair a new crisis meeting of ministers after a third straight night of nationwide protest over the deadly police shooting of a teenager. Saw cars torched, shops ransacked, and hundreds arrested. The overnight unrest followed a march on Thursday in memory of the 17-year-old named Nahel, whose death has revived long-standing grievances about policing and racial profiling in France's low-income and multi-ethnic suburbs. The LC announced Macron will cut short a trip to Brussels, where he was attending a European Union summit to chair a crisis meeting on the violence, the second such emergency talks in days. And in sports news, Arsenal defender Jean Betty has signed a new contract with the club months after overcoming cancer. The 32-year-old centre-back has spent 2 spells with the Gunners, having rejoined the club in 2019. Betty continued her career for club and country despite being diagnosed with breast cancer in October 2020 and undergoing radiotherapy. She was given the Helen Rollerson Award at the 2021 BBC Sports Personality of the Year following her diagnosis. Betty confirmed earlier this year that she is now cancer-free. Two-time champion Andy Murray will face fellow Briton Ryan Peniston in an eye-catching Wimbledon first-round match. Murray missed out on a seeding for the grass court Grand Slam event, leaving him open to facing a higher-ranked player in the first round. However, the former world #1 was drawn against wildcat Peniston, who is ranked 267th in the world. The winner faces a tough test in the second round against Greek 5th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas or Dominic Thiem. The 136th championships start at the All England Club on Monday, with Murray set to face Peniston on Tuesday. Now let's take a look at some more sports updates with Adeni Ajishafe.
The Nigerian Basketball Federation (NBBF) has appointed former Nigerian national team player Rena Wakama as head coach for Nigerian women's basketball team on a 2-year deal. And in boxing, 2018 Youth Olympic silver medalist Adijat Gbadamosi won the technical knockout victory over Zimbabwean soldier Patience Mastara in the 5th round of their 10 rounds bout to win African bantamweight female title in Ghana. Nigerian Gbadamosi made history by becoming the first Nigerian woman to win the African boxing title in its 3rd edition, titled King of the Ring at Bukom Boxing Arena in Accra. And in wrestling, multiple African and Commonwealth champion Blessing Obrodudu and Esther Kolawole added to Nigeria's Hall of Medals by winning gold medals in their respective wrestling events at the ongoing 2nd African Big Games holding in Tunisia. Obrodudu won gold in women's 70kg category, defeating Cote d'Ivoire's Am Young 3-2 in victory by superiority. Following the footsteps of Obrodudu, Esther Kolawole, the fiercest of the nation's wrestler in Tunisia, edged out Algeria's Chima Akwiza 1-0 in victory by point to win gold in women's 60kg category. Nigeria has now won 3 gold medals in tech ball and wrestling at the African Beach Games in Hammamet, Tunisia. That's sport news. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
Now, before we go, here's a look at our kicker for today. Now, these refugees are healing their wounds and the planet's wounds by planting trees in the Tongogara refugee camp. They also have long-term plans to establish a public park. For 23-year-old Bana Mutangana has called the Tongogara refugee camp in southeastern Zimbabwe home, and now he hopes to leave a legacy for future generations.
I have been here for so long, since 2000 now, and here is now like my home. And why can't I just start thinking to see how we have to make it a better place to live? And that is why I come with the idea, because even when I was young, since I was young, I was just thinking how I have to do good things for the society. We plant the tree while the tree is growing up. What we do also, we make sure that also we put our vegetable beans because we also have the objective of fighting against poverty. My parents was died when I was 13. I have the opportunity of healing my wound. And when I have the opportunity of healing my wound, that is what I choose also to heal the planet.
I'm working because if I try to make this place green and the trees grow, it might help the next generation. Yeah, they might be in a place where there's no more temperature, high temperatures.
When we are talking about climate change, in Ntongogara you can feel it live. Because other places you may find there is a cooler trees, whatever, but here in Ntongogara you can feel it. And sometimes it's also difficult for us to breathe because it's too hot. Even in our absence in Ntongogara, this will show that we were there. This is our presence. So planting a tree is like planting a spirit.
And that wraps up the news hour for tonight. In case you've missed, you can always catch up across all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.